In this video, we're going to be going over should you guys be locking in for any of the new edition sets in NBA 2K23 Myteam, whether it's the Dark Matter Terry Dishinger, Dark Matter Dikembe Mutombo, Galaxyable Eddie Jones, or the Galaxyable Jerry West. How much do these cards cost to lock in, and should you guys be locking in either the Flash at the Idols, the Signature Series, or the Prime? So we'll start off here with the Diamond one for the Flash, which is for the Galaxyable Jerry West. Now, for how much this set's going to go for, I did wait till the cards are probably settled in price, because I want to see exactly how much these sets are going to cost. So Boban is around, I would say, 15 to 20,000 MT right now. He might even be a little bit cheaper because there's just so many on the auction house, and he was very easy to pull. But I would say you should be able to get this card for around 15,000 MT, and honestly, maybe even 10,000. So for this card, I'll go on the higher end and say 15,000 MT. Talking about Tristan Thompson, he's going to be about 3 to 4,000. So for this card, we'll just say 4,000 MT. So right now, we'll say on average about 20,000 MT for those two cards. Looking at Claxton, I think he's around 10 to 15. Once again, I'll probably just go on the higher end. I mean, right now he's 10k, yeah, so he's 10,000 MT. So now we're looking at 30,000 MT, and then I do believe these last two diamonds are fairly cheap. So 30,000 MT for those three first diamonds. For this one, I mean, Jay McDaniels probably another 10,000 MT, actually maybe 5,000 MT. So yeah, we'll say 5,000 MT for Jay McDaniels, and we'll say all around probably about 40,000 MT. If you can get the cards for a little bit cheaper, maybe 30 to 40,000 MT to lock in for this card. And I think for that price, I will say, if you guys are just looking for a fun card to use, then I do think it could be worth it. Is he going to be a top 10, top 15 point guard in the game? Absolutely not. But for a card who's 6'2" and isn't that great height wise, he feels just like a worse Pete Maravich. That's the way that I kind of view it, is basically if you guys want something like Pete Maravich, I'm not saying he's as good as Pete because he's not, but if you want something of the effect of Pete Maravich, a really good 3-hunter, a guy that plays solid defense in game, even for his height and his wingspan. I mean, this card, if you guys want to watch my gameplays as well, I'll have gameplays on all of the lock-in cards. So if you guys want to see what they look like in game, you guys can check those out before you actually lock them in, if you want to see what they look like in game. And I'm using that as experience, kind of going off the fact not just their stats and badges and their animations, but how well they did play in game for me as well. So I really like Jerry West. I don't think he's going to be a top 10, top 15 point guard in unlimited, but I feel like for clutch time, he's a very fun card to use. So if you guys have 30,000-40,000 MT lying around and you just want to have fun with a point guard and really be able to 3-hunt, then I do think the set is worth locking in for. Talking about the Galaxyable one for the Galaxyable Eddie Jones, you do have to lock in these 5 pink diamond cards. Starting it off here with RJ Barrett, he's around 10,000 MT. I'm not gonna get the exact price for every single one, just gonna be a rough kind of estimate. Marcus Smart's actually about 5,000 MT, so 15k for those first 2 pink diamonds. I think Jonas Valanciunas is between 5 to 10k. He might be like 8,000 MT. Yeah, so probably I would say about 8,000 MT for Valanciunas, maybe like 7.5. We'll just say 8,000 MT on the higher end. Once again, Marcus Smart is about 5,000, so 23k. I think that's where we're at right now for the total. But this is where the set gets a little bit more expensive. So 23,000 MT for those 3 pink diamonds. But then you're probably gonna have to drop around 50k MT to get TJ Warren, and that's because Eddie Jones is such a good shooting guard. So for 50,000 MT plus that 23, now you're looking at 73,000 MT. And then you also do have to get this OJ Mayo card, who I believe goes for a decent amount of MT. Like, I don't think he's a crazy amount, but probably like 30k. So I would say a rough estimate, this set's going to cost about 100,000 MT to get. And I know it might sound crazy, I think it's worth it. I think Eddie Jones is an absolute beast, and I will be getting him for my squad as well, most likely, because I think he's better than Vince Carter, and I also think he's better than Ray Allen. Now, if you guys watch JC's gameplay or just saw JC what he said on Twitter, he says he's a top 3 shooting guard in the game. So if you want to go off his opinion, which is a very good opinion, he's a very competitive and good Myteam player, so he likes him a lot. I haven't heard what Ty and those guys say, but from my experience and just JC's, I think Eddie Jones is a really, really good shooting guard. I wouldn't go as crazy to say he's a top 3 shooting guard. He's definitely not better than T-Mac. He's definitely not better than the new Terry Dishinger. Is he better than a Clyde? Is he better than a Kobe? Is he better than a Billy Knight? For me, maybe Clyde Drexler. I would take Kobe and Billy Knight over this Eddie Jones card. But after that, I think he is the 5th or 6th best shooting guard in the game, because I like him more than Vince. I like him more than Ray, Pippen. Him and Billy Knight, him and Clyde, I think that's where stuff gets a little bit close, I will say. So for me personally, I think Eddie Jones is the 4th or 5th or 6th best shooting guard in the game. So for 100,000 MT, I know you do have to actually lock it in, so you're not able to sell the card back, or if you get a card like Vince Carter, you're able to sell him on the auction house after you're done using him. But if you guys want a very elite shooting guard and you don't have Tracy McGrady, you don't have the new Terry Dishinger, and you're looking for a very good option, and you already have Vince Carter, and maybe you're looking for another guy, I think Eddie Jones is actually worth locking in for. I mean, probably the 2 Dark Matters will be more expensive, so maybe they're not worth locking in for, but I think for the 2 Galaxy Opals, I think they're worth it. I think Eddie Jones for most people will be worth it. Jerry West is more of the thing, like if you want to have fun with the card and you just want to have fun with him for how cheap he is, then I do think he's worth it for that sense. But Eddie Jones can actually play on multiple people's teams. Like if you don't have T-Mac or Terry Dischinger, you can make an argument. I'm not saying it is true, but you can make an argument he's the 3rd best shooting guard in the game. For me, it comes down to him and Kobe, him and Clyde, and him and Billy Knight, but you can make that argument that he is better than a Kobe Bryant. I disagree with that, but you can definitely make that argument. Now, talking about the Signature Series, this is where stuff does get really expensive. Now, Ben Wallace has just fluctuated in price like crazy. He was like 400,000 MT earlier today. Now I think he's around 100,000 MT. I'm not exactly sure if he's a buy now, but there is a ton up on the auction house, and that is because Gordon Hayward is the gatekeeper. So we'll say about 100,000 MT for the Ben Wallace. I mean, this card, I think Gordon Hayward will eventually go down in price. I would say he probably settles around 200 to 250, but we'll just say on average about 300k for the Gordon Hayward. It's about 400,000 MT for those 2 cards. Granger and Fox are going to be fairly cheap. I think they're both around 20k. I think they're both around 20,000 MT. So yeah, we'll say 20,000 MT for Granger and about 20,000 MT for Fox, maybe even a little bit cheaper, but just easier for the math equation. We'll say 40,000 for those 2 guys. And then Rodman's super cheap as well. I think he's like 25 to 30,000 MT. So we'll say on the higher side, about 30,000 MT for Rodman. So that means it's going to be 70,000 plus the 300, so 370. So I'd say about 470. We'll just say 500,000 MT, maybe 450 to lock in for this Dikembe Mutombo. And I know that might sound crazy, but if you're comparing him to a Kristaps and you compare him to a D-Rob, like he goes for the same amount of price as a Dark Matter D-Rob does, and he goes for a lot cheaper than the 16-bit Kristaps. Now you are locking in the MT, which is locking in 450, 500k is a lot to lock in, but if you guys can time his jump shot, which if you watch my gameplay, he's got a very capable jump shot. If you guys can green it and you're consistent with his jump shot, I personally think at the center position, he's better than Kristaps and he's better than the D-Rob. Is he better than the lock-in Cream? I would say no at the 5. I think Cream just does everything a little bit better. Dikembe does have the better jump shot though, so if you're more consistent with Dikembe, then maybe you do like him more than Cream at the 5 because of his player model, his wingspan, his height is so overpowered. Like his player model is ridiculous on Dikembe Mutombo. So if you have a lot of MT and you guys want to lock in for Dikembe and you think he's better than D-Rob and Kristaps, I think it's worth it in that sense. Now, if you don't have a lot of MT or you're fine with your centers and your power forwards, then sure, he's not a must-have card. But I would say for his value, 450k, 500,000, which is most likely just going to continue to drop over time, maybe go down to 350, 400,000, I think that's not that bad. If you can get him for cheaper than D-Rob, a lot cheaper than Kristaps, I don't know, man. I guess we'll see what comes up Friday. Maybe we get a souped up Will Chamberlain or Hakeem Olajuwon that's better than Dikembe, but I don't know. I think for right now, he might be worth locking in. I would say Eddie Jones is definitely worth locking in if you guys are looking for a shooting guard. Jerry West, I mean, that's for like the fun factor. And I think Dikembe is one of the best big men in the game. So for me, I would say yes, this set is worth it. And then talking about the prime set, I mean, just to give you guys a short and quick answer, don't need to drag it on. It's just not worth locking in. I mean, yes, he is one of the best cards in the game, and he's probably the 2nd best shooting guard right behind Tracy McGrady. Like, it goes T-Mac 1, right below that is Terry Dischinger, and then there's a huge gap to like the Kobe Bryants, the Clyde Drexlers, the Eddie Jones, the, you know, Billy Knights of the world, the Vince Carter, the Pippen. Those guys are a huge step down compared to Terry Dischinger and obviously T-Mac. So this set is probably going to cost you around 1.2. I would say maybe even a little bit cheaper. I would say you're paying at least 1.2 million MT, which is, I mean, it's cheaper than, it's around the same price as a T-Mac, but if you really want a good shooting guard, just go buy yourself a Dark Matter T-Mac. He might even be a little bit cheaper nowadays because some people are spending all of their MT to lock in for Terry Dischinger, and maybe some people are panic selling their T-Mac as well. So I think honestly the better move is just go ahead and get yourself a Dark Matter T-Mac or just a different shooting guard as well. But I would say the quick answer, the short answer to this is it's not going to be worth it unless you guys have crazy amounts of MT. If you do, if you already have a really good squad, you got 3-4 million MT and you want a really good shooting guard, yes, he's an amazing card. I just think for 99.9% of people, this set is not going to be worth locking in. But I will say, I mean, these two in the middle, I think are really, really good value for the Dikembe and for the Eddie Jones. But guys, let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think about these 4 new lock-in cards? And let me know which ones you guys are planning on locking in. Are you guys trying to lock in for the Dikembe? Maybe you guys are going for the Terry Dischinger, the Eddie Jones. Let me know what you guys think about all these lock-ins, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.